Hey YouTube, and welcome back. We've been playing the brand new 1.3 or season 3 of Last Epoch for about 9.5 hours at this point, and I'm gonna call it nights. But before I do so, I want to share with you what we've been doing this very first night. We just finished chapter 10. We've seen the new content. We had intrusive thoughts about trying to drown ourselves in a vat of honey, and it's been wonderful. So the character that we're playing here, I made a video about it previously. I was talking about playing Aspect of the Boar and kind of figuring out the rest of it along the way. So Aspect of the Boar, along with all the aspects for Beastmaster, has been buffed quite a bit, but the one that we care about most is Aspect of the Boar. So Boar used to be damage reduction, and then if you opted into it, it could give you bleed chance and physical penetration with bleed as well, which is a nice way of scaling offense and defense at the same time. Now we get bleed duration, bleed chance, and bleed penetration, and damage reduction, along with bonus damage reduction from Porcine Constitution, all wrapped up into one stat called Increased Effect of Aspect of the Boar, which comes on idols. I'm going to use some 2x2s if I can get them, but this increased Aspect of the Boar effect is what we're kind of looking for here. So this allows us to scale not defense, but just DR. Scaling DR is a hell of a drug because it's just like, it's super duper strong. This character in its final form is going to probably be one of the tankiest characters I've ever played. And because of that, and because of being able to use our MTX offline, I'm just playing hardcore and I'm playing offline. So I haven't played hardcore in a while, but it's been a fun time to kind of get myself mentally back in the zone of playing hardcore. Because the first couple thousand hours in Last Epoch for me, I played hardcore exclusively. So it's fun to be back. The character, the intent of the character was to juice up Aspect of the Boar for all our bleed stuff, and then combine it with the new primordial item, Carrion of Creation, which it's got a lot of text on it, but it says Frostbite, Ignite, Shock, Time Rod, Dam, Poison Chance are all converted into bleed chance. And then of course Boar is our way of juicing up all that bleed chance, giving it penetration and duration, and then our character is going to have like 8, maybe 8.5 second duration of bleeds instead of the normal 3. So that's the idea of the character, kind of harmonizing all those random ailments into bleed and then juicing up bleed with damage damage reduction at the same time. For our character, how was day 1? So the very beginning of the game for Primalist kind of sucks. I didn't really worry about leveling well because I knew that I was going to spend a bunch of time doing chapter 9. I was going to spend a bunch of time doing chapter 10, and I just wanted to like do something that was fun and different and highlighted a new portion of the game because that's what I'm in the mood for right now. So I will say that if you're following this kind of archetype of turning into a Spriggan, shooting with spirit thorns like this, and trying to get some bleed damage that goes along with it. Before I got into the Spriggan form, I needed to get points into Beastmaster to get these 13 points for all my bleed synergies right now. And then I also needed 5 points to get Spriggan form. So in the lull between filling out those two things, I was using Swipe as like a bleed melee thing along with some wolves following me around. It kind of sucked. It wasn't great, but we just pushed through it, so whatever. Another possibility would be instead of 5 points in Druid, 5 points in Shaman, and do like Tornado plus Gathering Storm, and that would be your way of applying your bleeds, but then you'd have to figure out what your mana situation was going to look like. So I just opted into this. This is kind of what I was going for. After we got our 13 points here, and also Spriggan form, or Tornado, but we did Spriggan form, then it felt much, much better. One of the things that I overlooked is that I initially planned, instead of using Scorpion, I wanted to use Summon Bear, but I overlooked that I can't get Bear to use his Roar to get the bonus damage reduction and to like taunt things and give himself tankiness. I can't get him to do that while I'm transformed into a Spriggan form. So he just kind of walked around and did bear things behind me. And then we were talking about a whole bunch of builds in Twitch chat. I took a look at this node. Your Scorpion has a chance to cast Maelstrom whenever you do. Spriggan form. You have a chance to cast Maelstrom when you cast Spirit Thorns. What? So you can pew 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 pew, and then your Scorpion also gets some bonus damage over time in a circle in the form of a Maelstrom on his character. So if you just have like a couple pieces of minions deal more damage, in the Scorpion skill tree, taking some more damage over time over here, maybe gives him tankiness too, he automatically gets Frenzy and Haste because of Maelstrom as well. So he just kind of like zoops around and does some bonus damage over time. That felt very good for leveling. At the point that I'm at right now, level 66, doesn't feel like it's particularly impactful, but for leveling, it felt very, very good. So maybe there's something to that. I know there's other people out there doing like a minion-centric build, trying to scale the Maelstrom in terms of damage. They're not doing this like Spring and Form stuff. They're not doing the bleed stuff that I am, but they're focusing on like that style of Scorpion build. And I'm excited to see how those builds plan out, because just kind of, I'm a little bit adjacent to like Scorpion Maelstrom builds at the moment, but I can see that there's definitely something there. So that's kind of exciting. I bet it's real. I bet it's good. For the stuff that we're doing, we currently have a kind of hodgepodge of ailments. We have a whole bunch of resistance, some life, and that's it. That's all my gear. The only like damage that we have is like tier 5 cast speed on a staff. We could use like a dagger, for example. I think a great way to build into this character before you get the primordial gloves to harmonize everything into bleed would be instead to go something like a chitin dagger. This thing, because with this you can get a bleed chance suffix and a cast speed prefix. So if you got like bleed cast speed on a dagger, and then honestly, you're so tanky, I'd probably just dual wield something like this. If I could have my perfect leveling setup, that would be it. The problem with staves is that staves don't get bleed as a suffix, and wands also don't get bleed as a suffix. So you want cast speed, you want bleed, so I'll figure it out, I guess, at some point. I didn't realize that Soul of the Mountain is a guaranteed drop from the Heart of the Hive Woven Echo. So this will be an easy item to get. I'm looking forward to incorporating this. I'm going to get like 50 or maybe, or I guess like 60 or 75 attunement to get some extra Veil Spirits shooting my damage out. So still looking forward to it. This is not an OP build. Currently, not sure how it's going to work later on when we get the bleed gloves, but it's fun. It's like fun. It's something different, and I don't feel like I'm making a bad choice right now. I love hearing updates from other people as well. If you watch this far into the video, I encourage you to leave a comment to let me know how your starter is going. People from Twitch chat are telling me about their Flay builds that they're no longer playing because Flay is too slow. Some people are telling me about they're just like playing a Sentinel because they miss how smooth Sentinel was from last season. Some people started playing a Primalist and then re-rolled off Primalist after half an hour because they couldn't stand how bad the leveling was. I've heard a couple of stories about what people are and are not liking, and I love those stories. So if you're willing to share, I'm definitely willing to read those comments as well. We're going to play more tomorrow. Get this character going. We finished chapter 10. We went very slow through chapter 10 to look at all the pretty stuff, and we finished our first two monoliths. So more in the future, more next time. I'll see you then.